working or whatever, they're calling about on cell phones and saying, who's this guy, who's this guy, who's this guy, who's this guy. This is the guy you need to watch out for. Literally, I remember him saying he just went through Fallujah, which means he's calling someone in Fallujah and saying a relative or something,
right.
and he's just, so they had eyes all in the Sunni triangle.
Right.
And so he knew when he left Baghdad, he knew when he went through Fallujah, and then he knew when he got in because he had people. He actually did tell me this. It was a woman who was watching the house, which he knew where they would be staying. So as soon as they came in, they rolled down, grabbed him, and they brought him to war. So
they arrested him?
Yeah, they arrested him.
Okay.
And I think that was a big shift in the rule of law for them, because when we were there, it was a transition from killing to arresting.
Yeah.
And I'd say they were like remarkably good at it, which to the point to where I was really surprised.
Can you say more about that? How was it a shift in the rule of law? What was before and then what was...
Because during the awakening, they just killed everyone.
Right. And what were the dates roughly of the awakening?
Some would say it started 05, December 05, and Major Quinn would be one of them, and Major Quinn will, I'm sure...
We're going to go over this with Major Quinn.
Major Quinn will give you a much better one than I will, but
right.
Because he knew the insides. But Colonel Turner, generals were behind this, but Colonel Turner was vastly behind this, because he's a stud.
Do you ever hear anything about General Allen?
Yes, the General Allen meeting? I think that's the one...
With the Sunni sheikhs?
Yeah. At the Ghost Center, that one?
No, I mean, I'm not asking about a specific meeting. I'm asking about General Allen generally.
No. The only general I know or really care about is Petraeus.
Allen was the commanding officer of IOC when I was there.
Oh, really? Huh. No.
I think one of the big things too was it was almost kind of like an emotional and psychological like growth that occurred from the time when we arrived to the time we left. And I mean, what happened is during the awakening, toward the end and mid part of 1/6's deployment, they were going out and killing these guys. These were the guys who were terrorizing their neighborhoods for 3 years, killing their family members, killing their mothers and children.
These were
and everything.
revenge killing.
It was an emotional response of finally we're going to go out and kill these guys. What happened, I think, during our deployment is that immediate emotional response became more of a long-term goal of saying, okay, now we've taken care of the problem, the immediate threat. Now it's time to start looking.
Which is so interesting because they got it. Imagine if we did this in Iraq in the initial push.
Right.
I mean, imagine if we went into the invasion and we killed a lot of people, which is necessary for an invasion, and we went from that full-scale combat because we were pushing rule of law, but they almost got it themselves to where they started just detaining people, and they stopped killing them. And it was they understood coin better than we did because they were the coin.
Right. To say that our presence or our partnership curtailed their killing or this shift in their mentality would be completely wrong.
Right.
They just as easily could have continued taking these people out to the desert and killing them without our knowledge, which I'm sure occurred occasionally. It just was not occurring on like how it was, I think, in the winter and beginning of end of 06, beginning of 07.
Because literally 3 weeks before we got there, it was still the violent stage of the awakening. Now the awakening continued it's still going on, but the violent stage happened 3 weeks before we got there. I mean, we were getting SIGACs about these fights, and that's why we think it's still so violent, and we didn't know why it was still violent. We thought it was still traditional violence. We didn't know there was this great awakening going on. Now, I think where we did curtail, and I would say Scott Joyner had a lot to do with this, Captain Joyner, the judge.
Yeah.
Scott's a Georgetown grad, law grad, which is a fun Jesuit institution. You should go there. I told you. But what he did and what he brought is detention to them means something very different what detention to us means. because we're following all sorts of Geneva Conventions and rule of law and all that, and so we had to. I think what the A-team guys also brought was civics classes to. I mean, how many discussions at like 3 a.m. did you get in?
Human rights and community policing, that sort of thing.
And we went in this saying, "Don't beat detainees," doesn't mean anything to them. It literally means nothing to them. If you go into the why, and this goes back to the Marines, and this goes back to just blatant human nature, and I think Scott did it well, and I think all the Marines did it well, is why should you not do this? Why should you not be corrupt? And why are we punishing these people who are corrupt? That is what I thought the Marines curtailed. That once they're detained, the actual processes of actual detention paperwork and all that. So
Well, why don't we stop this tape here and then move on to